Good morning. I'm going to read this week's story of the week, which is Mr. Wolf's Pancakes, and the author of our book is Jan Fearley. I wonder what's going to happen in our book. One day, Mr. Wolf was feeling hungry. He fancied some pancakes. Yum, yum, he said, licking his lips at the thought of a big pile of fresh, delicious pancakes. Wolf had never made pancakes before, so he took his big recipe book down off of the shelf and looked inside. But wolves can't read very well, and Mr. Wolf had trouble making sense of it. So he went to get some help from his neighbours. Oh, if you look really carefully, Wolf has got the book upside down. No wonder it doesn't make any sense. He called on his neighbour, Chicken Licken, who lived nearby. Please, can you help me read this? He asked. No, said Chicken Licken, slamming the door in Mr. Wolf's face. Bang! Oh dear, sighed Mr. Wolf. He sat down, slowly read the book and worked out what he needed, all by himself. Mr. Wolf looked in his cupboard for the ingredients, but he couldn't find everything he needed. I'll go to the shop, he decided, and he settled down to write a list. But wolves aren't very good at writing, so Mr. Wolf called on Wee Willie Winking. You're very clever, said Mr. Wolf. Can you help me write my shopping list, please? No, said Wee Willie Winking. Go away. He slammed his door. Bang! There's no need to be like that, said Mr. Wolf quietly. Oh dear, nobody seems to be helping Mr. Wolf. Mr. Wolf sat down and tried very hard with his writing until he made his shopping list all by himself. Now he needed to count his money to make sure he had enough. But wolves aren't very good at counting, so he went to the gingerbread man for some help. I wonder if the gingerbread man will help. Can you help me count my money, please? He asked politely. No, I'm too busy to bother with you, said the gingerbread man, slamming his door. Bang! Oh, they really won't help him, will they? So poor Mr. Wolf had to sit down and count his money. It took a long time, and he had to check it 3 times before it was right. But he did it all by himself. Mr. Wolf needed a basket to carry his shopping, so he called on Little Red Riding Hood. Please, may I borrow your basket? He asked very nicely. I'm not lending my basket to you, said Little Red Riding Hood. Now clear out! So Mr. Wolf set off to the shop without a basket. I'll manage, he said. Mr. Wolf went to the shop. He looked at his list, remembered what he needed, and counted out his money, and carried the eggs, milk and flour home, all by himself. Now it was nearly time to make the pancakes. But wolves aren't very good at cooking, so Mr. Wolf called on the 3 little pigs. Please, can you help me cook my pancakes? I'll share them with you, he said kindly. Well, that's a very kind thing to say. No chance, chorused the pigs, slamming their doors. Bang, bang, bang. Mr. Wolf felt sad because nobody wanted to help him. Mr. Wolf went home and started to make the pancakes all by himself. Soon there was a huge pile of delicious pancakes on the table, all ready for eating. Look at that lovely pile of pancakes there. It's making me hungry. Now, as Mr. Wolf had been making his pancakes, a lovely smell had drifted out of the kitchen. All his neighbours could smell it and made them feel very hungry. They wanted some pancakes too. They decided to try their luck. Ooh, I wonder what Mr. Wolf was saying. So they knocked on Mr. Wolf's door. "Give us some of your pancakes," said the rotten lot. "Why should I give any to you?" said Mr. Wolf. "Not one of you would help me." "We'll help you eat them," replied Mr. Wolf's neighbours nastily. "Anyway, we're not going away until you give us some." The wolf thought very hard for a minute. There was only one decent thing to do. "Oh, very well then," he sighed. "You had better come in." Or was he going to share the pancakes? The wolf opened the door and whoosh! His greedy neighbours rudely pushed him aside and dashed down the hall. Mr. Wolf shook his head, shrugged his shoulders, followed them into the kitchen, and when they were all in, I wonder what's going to happen. Mr. Wolf gobbled them up! Snippety, snappity! That was the end of his unhelpful neighbours. Then Mr. Wolf, with his bulging tummy, not quite full, sat down to eat his pile of pancakes, and he did it all by himself. Well, there was nobody else around. I wonder why there was nobody else around. Where were they all? Oh yeah, he ate them all up, didn't he? Goodness me. Well, I enjoyed that story. Although it did remind me of another story. Not quite the same, but very similar. I wonder if you can think what it's about. It's about an animal who needs some help to make some bread. And she goes and asks the different animals on the farm to help her. And they keep saying no. And then when she's made the bread, they all come and they ask to eat it. Does anybody know what the story is that I'm thinking of? That's right, the little red hen. I wonder if you can see the similarities between the two stories. I hope you have a super week and we'll speak to you again soon. Bye.